Hello everyone, welcome to the 28th episode of Interview with Professor Franz Ruppert, and this is brought to you live from Munich in his beautiful office. Hello Professor.
Hello Christine.
And congratulations to a very successful fourth International Congress.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And I'm sure it has touched many lives. Today we want to have a chat on the topic of trauma of sexuality and how it does affect oneself and also couple relationship. And I feel it is very timely for you also, Professor, that you are writing also a book on sexuality to be released next year, right? Yeah. So maybe can you explain to us what is the meaning of trauma of sexuality?
Yeah, also on writing this book and writing the manuscript for this book for next year, I was thinking about the definition, and I think this might be a useful definition to say to suffer from a psychotrauma of sexuality and somebody else makes you an object of his or her sexual desire.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
Yeah? You are made an object of another person who wants to have something sexual, something sexual pleasure, whatever, and you are denied as the person you are. You're denied as an individual. You're denied as a subject, and this means you are made a victim. Yeah? Then sexual trauma means there is a perpetrator of the sexual trauma, and then there is the victim. Yeah? The victim is objectified because the victim is not fully agreeing with his own I and own want to what's happened in sexuality.
And it can happen at any stage of the person's life, huh?
Yeah, in a way, any stage. I mean, of course, if you are in the womb and your mother gets raped again and again, it also can influence you.
Also already in the womb,
yeah? Already in the womb. And if you have a mother that is constantly raped, imagine what this means for the child too. And and unfortunately, we have also the situation that already very small babies, they can be sexually to be traumatized by somebody, an adult person, another person.
But it is interesting that you talk about that. Even there is a rape also in a marriage. Yeah.
Of course, a couple relationship does not mean that they're on the level of sexuality. This is always volunteering. Yeah? That both are always volunteering, and sometimes, some people think when I'm married, then I possess my partner, and I have a right for sex, and whenever I want sex, and this is also traumatizing.
Okay, so through your IOPT works experience, in what ways does this trauma actually affect an adult's life through your experience?
As the sexual trauma is normally not the first trauma. The sexual trauma is already a consequence of a trauma biography. Most of cases not being wanted, not being loved, and then out of this you are seeking for contact. You want to have also body contact, to have maybe also some pleasurable feelings. Then you're so open, being seduced by the perpetrator, and and this then you make the experiences of shame, of disgust, of you do things that makes you maybe vomit, or you have pain, you feel pain. So this is on a very physical level, on a body level, is painful, can be painful. Yeah? But this sexual trauma also can happen when somebody is masturbating in front of you, and you have to look at, or if someone is always looking at your body and sucks you out, and you feel then naked, and even your clothes on, but somebody look at you.
There's this kind of experience,
putting your clothes off, and you feel very uncomfortable,
unsafe,
and so you feel uncomfortable, and so there's many. You can also say there's a range of how strong this sexual trauma is, how much is done with you and your body, how close it is or how distant it is. And the consequences, of course, are dependent also from this. How much is your body involved, how much violence is involved in the sexual trauma. And sometimes maybe the majority of sexual trauma, the victim doesn't immediately feel as violence, but feels as somebody likes me, pleasure, somebody loves me, somebody it gives me contact, in a way seduces you, like in a love relationship. Yeah.
So you don't feel that there's violence, or
only afterwards. In a way. Afterwards you feel sick. Afterwards you feel the shame. But in that moment, maybe you yourself feel some pleasure, and this, of course, confuses you further. You're not sure. Did I something wrong?
Yes. Or do I really want this? Or
do I really agree with that? So this is depending. The consequences of the sexual trauma depend on how the trauma happens. But it can have a lot of consequences.
Yes.
And so maybe it's what I see that this sexual trauma further splits the I and the one from the rest of the personality.
Yes.
So you even more give up I, you even more think you can't really want what you want, and so you even more go into survival strategies.
And it's very strange, because it's like, of course, cognitively we want a healthy and constructive relationship, but somehow some people, they keep going into cycles of a destructive relationship, being sexually traumatized again and again.
Because it's a perpetrator-victim relation that
they crave
going
for.
on, and so this is the question then, how to step out again from this perpetrator-victim relationship. So this also means maybe even if you experience the sexuality you have in your maybe daily life, in your adult life, or even in a partnership, that it could be a repetition of a sexual trauma from childhood.
Right.
So it's not so easy to really to let it go and to step out. And and the same is with this internalized perpetrator-victim dynamic, that you don't criticize yourself, that you don't blame yourself, that you don't feel ashamed about what you have done, and that you do not reject your body, for example. Reject your body, reject your
being ashamed of the body, finding that it is dirty. So one thing is how possible is, for example, if you are a child and you see your parents being like one sexually traumatizing the other parent, but it doesn't happen to you, but does it repeat in your own life? It's like one generation.
I don't know if it could be, but what the child, if the child, for example, experiences that the father rapes the mother, then the child, of course, wants to help the mother, wants to rescue the mother, and maybe later in life this child always reject males because they see males as perpetrators, and do in their professional life something to rescue females. Be consequence of it.
So, of course, you would propose to do a piece of work with the intention method.
Yes, but only one piece.
No, not only one piece.
Because if it's about sexual trauma, one piece of work is not enough. It's not enough. You have to be clear about this.
It would just stem from trauma of identity first. That's really.
It shows the whole trauma biography. Normally, if you start with this, then maybe you have not done anything before, so this is just the door this opens, and there are many other doors behind that.
Okay, so does this sexual trauma also explains why a lot of singles dare not go into a relationship?
Of course, if you know that closeness and body contact is combined with shame and disgust, and then you maybe have friendships or something on distance. You have your relationship on a distance. Sometimes I see really, if you give somebody a hug, you can immediately sense if this person feels well in his own body, or this person's. Sometimes I see that you give a hug and then somebody pushing away your hand.
Yes.
Because it's so much
the comfort with closeness or contact.
How much comfort, or somebody feels then immediately goes sweating.
Yes.
Gets sweating immediately.
Or is it shaking?
Shaking, or it goes in a frozen state when it's just when you give somebody a hug, and so then you see how difficult it becomes. Then you do really have closeness, close body contact. When on the other side, you traumatized parts then are in an absolute upset, and feel the terror again.
Okay, so 3 groups of people I would like to inquire for of how sexual trauma can affect. For example, let's say a couple, and after they are married, and then one of the spouse realize that they have been sexually traumatized, and what do you advise that do they like keep away from intimacy first for a while the other spouse goes to healing?
Of course. If someone realized until now, I just agreed with sexual contact, but not really. It came out of a survival strategy, and I was, during the sexual intimacy, I was only frozen, I dissociate, and so then of course you won't repeat it any longer, and then looking for a healthier way of having sex, and it maybe needs some time to find a new way.
Right.
Out of this surviving strategy, that the sexuality can really be based on healthy structures.
So maybe they just take a break for a while the spouse find back themselves.
Of course, they have to be as open as possible, to stay with the truth as much as possible, and this
to allow some space for healing.
It could be supporting on the one side, but on the other side, of course, can be frustrating also for the one part that says, "Oh, I'm fine with my sexuality. I do not have a problem," or he thinks.
Yes, of course. I think it's the past and it's over.
And the other one says, "No, for me, it's now the issue to work it through." So of course, this is for couple relationships, sexuality is something prominent, very prominent. And if this is no longer possible, then the question is why then being together as partners.
All right.
If sexuality is not working.
Okay.
So, but in most cases, I think it's really would be helpful that both are working on this issue.
Yes, that would be very great.
Try to be as
supportive and open.
And then you maybe make the experience that you've never been so intimate without sexuality. Because sometimes sexuality it's only pretending to be intimate.
Yes, you're right.
It's not a pretension of intimacy.
It's like just going through the motion, going through the act.
It's not really intimacy.
Yes, you're right.
And then you maybe the more you're more open for yourself, and the more intimacy and just another level can be created.
So first, learn to have that contact and intimacy with ourselves, and then to be able to have that contact and intimacy with another partner.
This intimacy, this being friendly with yourself, being gentle with yourself, then
it's quite difficult.
How kiddie can you be do these things with another person?
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So how about for a child? How does it affect a child if the child has been sexually abused as a baby? For example, some parents they may leave the child somewhere, and then if the child has been sexually abused, how can we share with the parents out there to watch out for signs whether your child has been sexually abused? Are you aware? Are there signs?
Yes.
Of how the child would behave?
If the child is given to a foster care, or
very often in Singapore it is like this, from a baby.
In a hospital or something. If this child afterwards is getting physical symptoms, is maybe something with the breath, or the digestion, or again maybe lack of ability to do with excrementation and so on. If the child, for example, was already
to excrete,
the child was already able to go to the toilet, and afterwards now it's getting wetting the pants and during the night. It's also our typical symptoms for something.
Even wetting in the night,
something's happened. So something happened. So there's at all. I think in a traumatized society, when so many of us are in a trauma state, and you give your child away to somebody else, how can you ever be sure that those persons are safe? Yeah, you can't.
Yeah, not just men doing it, but even women can also sexually abuse a child.
Yeah, to be aware that the amount of sexual trauma in all society, it's not only true for your country and our country, but I'm traveling a lot and see it in many countries where you would not expect it. Because on the surface everything seems fine, but below, there's so much trauma. And there's also so much sexual trauma, and the adults that are sexually traumatized as themselves as children afterwards can very easily become perpetrators of sexuality. And so I think it's every mother and father has really take care and not saying, okay, it'll be okay, give the child to this person or that person.
Yeah, it's about giving it away. Well, of course, that aside, even in the home can be dangerous. Even father or mother can
even mother
sexually,
and father. This is, in most cases, they happen in the families themselves.
Let's say, for example, let's talk about a professional question for those who are therapists. So when a client first see their own sexual abuse in a constellation, and they have absolutely no memory of it, how can we support the client? Let's say, for example, they cannot remember or they reject the facts shown. How do we support them?
The first thing is that you never push the person that you have to now look at, you believe it, and so just say, this is now something showing up with our method. Maybe this is what we can offer you, and just if you say I can't accept it, let it be like this. Maybe later on something happens that you get more access to it. Never forcing someone to say, oh, now you see you're sexually traumatized. No, that's not helpful, because the sexual trauma is on top, and
the below is
if somebody starts and something with the sexual trauma shows up, then as a therapist, it's not good to directly focus on the sexual trauma. If there is no I, if there's no want, then just say, okay, maybe there could be something, but normally also shows up that in this, when he says, I can't relate to it, and it really happened, then of course the I is not available, the want is not available, and it takes time to build up more safe internal structures of the identity in order to really get access to it and accept it.
Okay.
The sexual trauma, get access to the sexual trauma too.
Okay, so how about another picture here where because there is the symbiosis between the child and the mother is so close, so deep, and how can then we differentiate, whether in a piece of work, whether whatever shows is the mother's memory or really happened to the client, whether is it the mother's or yours. So how can we differentiate that?
Or it could also be both.
Right. Of course, both. Yes, of course.
It can also be both.
Yes.
It can as well the mothers.
Yes.
As well
so
as
it happens
yours.
one generation to another.
It happens normally in families over generations, and so the important thing is that we get this is the trauma of love.
Yes.
The symbiotic trauma.
Yes.
Where the baby not yet can really feel, this is my body, this is my mother's body, this is my anxieties, this is hers, and so on. And this takes time to get clearness, to get clearness.
Separate,
Only after that, only after going through a trauma of identity, trauma of love, then you can be sure, okay, that this happened to me, that happened to my mother.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, but sometimes you see this argument. I see it in many cases. This argument is used to say, "Oh no, it didn't happen to me. It only happened to my mother."
Yes. It often happens this way. Yes,
it's happened this way, and that is, I think, is a surviving strategy.
Okay.
To hope that it was the mother's trauma, not your own sexual trauma.
Of course. So most of the time, you would trust. For you would trust the resonators?
Of course, I always, not most of the time, I always trust the resonators, otherwise you can't do the work.
Yes.
But it is that is, the question is how much in the moment the client can make sense of what is reflected there. I know it from my own processes. Sometimes you see something and you can't believe it. You even and only later on, maybe you remember, oh yes, now I remember. This resonance was showing me something, but I couldn't take it in.
Yes, yes. Yeah, so just take time, maybe,
Yeah.
And if they do another piece of work and they keep showing up, and then maybe we can just be curious, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome, Christine.
Thank you. Yeah, so thank you all for tuning in, and I hope you have gathered important information from this piece of video. And if you would like to be curious about your issues and challenges in your life, so feel free to email me. And also, if you are from other parts of the world other than from Singapore, I'm from Singapore, we can contact me for maybe a Skype session. Yeah, so it's possible. We have a method that can support you. So thank you for tuning in. Until we see you again. Yeah, goodbye.